Hey, this is Heidi Dawson. If you love all things health and wellness and style of any kind, hang out here with me each week. I'm obsessed with never-ending improvement, and it's all in an effort to help each one of us live a wildly successful lifestyle. Subscribe today so you don't miss a thing. Hi, guys. Welcome to episode 259 of the Wildly Successful Lifestyle Podcast. I hope that this finds you happy and healthy and doing something amazing. I'm recording this from Watersound Beach, Florida. I love that I can actually do this from anywhere. It gives me such a sense of freedom. Okay, and don't forget, though, to share this episode if you love it. You never know whose life you might change when you share something inspiring, and I think this episode is inspiring. Okay, so you know that phrase, when the going gets tough, the tough get going? What exactly does that mean? Like, do the tough run away? Do the tough throw in the towel? No, of course not. It means when things get tough, you got to be tougher. We live in a society that's making us think we're soft. I mean, we're becoming afraid of our own shadow. We're becoming more and more isolated from each other, and I don't think that's a good thing. Just because technology is making things easier and we have everything we need at our fingertips, life is still going to throw us curveballs. Life is still going to knock us off our feet. And we're allowing ourselves to become ill-equipped to handle even the slightest discomfort, as if we should never have to. But growth happens when you're uncomfortable. Think about the times you've grown the most. I mean, it's when you're going through hell that you know what you're made of, right? Well, the good news is we're actually not ill-equipped. We are built to withstand a lot more than we give ourselves credit for. You listening, and yes, I'm talking to you, you're stronger than you think. You're more capable than you're giving yourself credit for. Life happens, I get it. But just because life happens and it's not happening the way you thought it would, doesn't mean you throw in the towel. I went to school with this really smart girl, and she had big dreams of becoming a fashion designer in LA. I believed in her. I believed she would be. She had something about her I thought was really great. She was super talented. She ended up moving back to her small hometown after school and never left. I mean, her life looks nothing like the dreams she had. I've often wondered what happened, and I wonder if she's happy. Maybe she is. I hope so. But sometimes I think we get used to just accepting things the way they come to us, sort of expecting for things to be different. And when they don't happen the way we want them to, we adapt to what we've gotten. And that's okay if you're happy where you end up. It's okay if you're happy where life has taken you. But when the problem comes is when you're not happy with what life deals with you. I'll give you an example from my own life. Education wasn't a big priority for my parents. I mean, college wasn't something my siblings and I thought was even possible when we left high school. It wasn't even something we aspired to because it wasn't allowed. Well, my older sister was the first to start to break the tradition of not going to college. I was so proud of her. She had a dream of becoming a teacher, and she was going for it. I mean, she was doing this as an adult at the age of 34, so that in itself was hard. But her grades were spectacular. She was loving every minute of it, studying and going to class. And it was really inspiring me to watch her do that, to go after her dreams. And then out of the blue, at age 35, she had a massive stroke. She had to learn to walk, talk, and speak all over. She was one class and one final away from an associate's degree at that point. Everyone would understand if she quit. I mean, she was in the hospital for months, for goodness sake. But no, she wasn't going to accept that loss. She wasn't going to just quit because life threw her a gigantic curveball that would have thrown most of us out of the game. No way. She reached out to her professor and they managed to work with her. And in spite of her very serious brain injury, she was able to successfully complete that class. She didn't quit when she got knocked off her feet. She didn't quit. She kept going. Her doctor credited that hard work she put in so close to having her stroke to helping her brain find new pathways around the damaged part. Where would she be if she had quit when it got hard? Probably not as far along as she is today. This last Friday, I was on my weekly Toastmaster call, and a fellow Toastmaster member who is a successful and very seasoned teacher. She was recounting an experience she had in her first day of teaching high school. She wanted to quit on that very first day and never go back. So she had this really rowdy class. This was her first day ever of teaching high school. And she had this rowdy class. Well, she managed to get most of them to quiet down, but not one girl. There was one girl that would simply not listen. And she was so frustrated that she told this girl, because, she had to take control of the class. She could not let anyone get the best of her on that first day. So she told this girl, we're going to step outside and we're going to call your mom. We're going to have a conversation with your mom. So they go outside the classroom, and the girl has a little smirk on her face when the teacher hands her the phone and says, call your mother. We're going to have this conversation, the three of us together. So my friend said she thought that was a little weird that she was smirking. But anyway, they have this conversation with her mom, and they finish up and they go back in the classroom, and the class erupts in laughter. Well, my friend has no idea why they're laughing. And she's asking, what is going on? Why are you laughing? Well, the bell rings and they all get up to leave, and one girl comes up to her and says, hey, Miss Fitz, you weren't talking to her mom, right? You were actually talking to Julie, and you were on speakerphone the entire time. We heard the whole conversation. You can imagine her embarrassment. I mean, she thought in her mind she'd have these kids that she could inspire and help them grow, and that is not how it worked out that first day. She wanted to quit. But had she quit that day, she would never have gone on and met Charles, a young man that she worked with later in her career. Charles was a student who was having a lot of trouble in school. He simply would not do his work. And a lot of times he didn't even come to class. Well, one day she was working with him on a project, and he said, I just don't want to do the work. And she looked him in the eye and she said, Charles, I believe in you. I believe you're meant for more. How can I help you do that? Well, a few days later, Charles actually left school for good, and he didn't come back until a few years later, when he came back specifically to see Miss Fitz, my friend. He told her he had gotten in trouble, and he'd actually gone to jail for a while, but he had changed, and he wanted to come back and tell her specifically, thank you. Thank you for believing in me. She helped change his life simply with those words. He probably had never heard that said to him before, and it was super powerful. Where would Charles be today if Miss Fitz had quit on that first day when it got hard? So back to my sister. She decided to get a college degree at 34, even though that wasn't something that was normal for her family, and it's not an easy thing to do in itself. But then she had a massive stroke on top of that. If she had quit when it got super hard, life wouldn't be better. It wouldn't be easier. She'd still be living, but it would be harder. She may be still struggling to talk or speak, but she chose the life she wanted. She didn't fall to the life that was handed to her. And if Miss Fitz had quit on that first day when it was hard and she was humiliated in that classroom, Charles may be in prison for life. We don't know. But instead, she chose to believe she could continue even though it was hard, and she changed lives because of it. These two didn't quit. They created a path forward for themselves, even though it was hard. Sometimes we think quitting when something gets hard will solve all our problems, but it doesn't. A lot of times it adds to them. Tony Robbins says, the problem most people have is they think they shouldn't have problems. The only thing that changes in life is the quality of our problems and our ability to overcome them. Quitting can become a habit, and that's not a habit you want. Sometimes things happen and you think they shouldn't. Life gets hard and we think it shouldn't be. But you're stronger than you think. Remember that the next time you're going through something hard. Remind yourself that you're built to be strong. And never allow yourself during the good times to get soft. And if you've let yourself get a little soft, that's okay. Ask yourself, though, how do I move my momentum back to the path of empowerment? What do I need to do to make that happen? What do I need to do to stop, or what do I need to stop doing in order to make that happen? I read a quote this last week that said, if you feel like you don't fit in the world you inherited, it's because you were born to create a new one. My challenge to you this week is to know the difference between accepting what life has given you and creating the life you want. Which path are you on? Are you allowing life to just happen? Or are you actively creating the one you really want? If you don't like the answer, you're built to change it. You were created to change it. When life gets tough, you got to be tougher. I love you guys. I'll talk to you in a few days. Don't forget to subscribe and share with your friends, because we're just going to keep going bigger and better places together, and I love that about us. Talk to you in a few days.